When people hear that I'm a model and then I throw in that I like to mountaineer and climb, I usually get a laugh first, and then they realize that that's not a joke, and then they usually say, well, what do you mean? Like, you climb mountains? And then they think it's just the hiking at first. And I was like, no, I've climbed one of the 7 summits. You know, I've climbed up to 23,000 feet almost. I'm Baillie Riddell, I'm 25, and I live full-time in New York City as a working model. And in my spare time, I like to pursue mountaineering. I was on a trip to Switzerland with my family years ago, and I had seen the Matterhorn. And it's this beautiful mountain that straddles the border of Switzerland and Italy. It's almost essentially a perfect pyramid. And I just thought it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I've always loved nature, I've always loved hiking and walking and being outdoors. And so when I was in Switzerland, I saw this and I thought, oh, wow, I know people ski the Matterhorn. I was like, I wonder if you can climb it, you know, like how people climb Everest. And so I started doing some research. I think probably a couple of years later, it just was something that kind of sat in the back of my mind. And when I was working in New York and I started to make a little bit more money and I really started to get into health and fitness, I thought, okay, I want to do something extreme. I want to do something that nobody else is doing, especially in fashion, and I want to push myself. I'm all about like seeing how far I can push myself physically and apparently mentally. I just didn't know that at the time. I signed up with this amazing company called Alpine Ascents, and I went to climb Mount Baker out in Seattle, Washington, and it's a 6-day course, so it's almost at 11,000 feet. Having never done anything like that before, I hadn't anticipated just how hard it would be. You think, oh, you're just walking. It's not that hard. Walking on an incline, that's not that hard. I just had never pushed myself to that kind of thing, and especially living in New York as a model, that's essentially a pretty cushy lifestyle. You get to go to set, you have your hair and your makeup done. You are standing all day, but it's not necessarily an active job.
Here we are in the top of Mount Baker. Corey, Travis, Matt,
Joe,
Jacob.
made it.
Baillie from New York City, formerly of Canada.
Here we go.
I decided to climb Aconcagua for a few reasons. I wanted to take on something much bigger, so the 2 climbs that I had done before were 6 days and 4 days. They were both out in Washington, and I was feeling a little ballsy. I wanted to take on something really big, but something that I think I could still manage. So I was looking at the 7 summits because that's definitely an interesting and intriguing goal to have, to climb the 7 highest summits around the world. I stumbled upon Aconcagua and I realized climbing something in the Southern Hemisphere would be a really great idea for me because based off of my schedule, the best time to travel for an extensive period of time would be over the holidays, so in December. So I thought, okay, I can take 3 weeks, I can take a month off. Are there any mountains I can climb over that time? Because usually the climbs happen in the summer when the weather's the nicest. So we climb essentially rocks and snow and sand the entire time. So there's no ice patches, there's no glaciers that we're climbing over. The terrain would be easier than most. So I thought that would be a good indication as to whether I can just handle an expedition of that length of time, and then we'll add on, you know, the glaciers and the extreme weather after. So what I'm trying to achieve in training right now in the last, week and a half before I go, the goal is mostly to maximize the strength training that I have at the moment. My flexibility and my cardio are pretty decent for what I need, but my strength has always been an issue, so I'm working on leg strength, so a lot of workouts with squats and snatches and deadlifts, all that fun stuff, and then core strength, so lots of ab workouts, lots of moving with the sleds and working with plates and the ropes and all that really fun and technical stuff. So it's basically at this point we're trying to increase the weight limit that I use every workout, and the goal is to increase at least 10% every week, but I'm trying to hit that even higher. Training has been really good. I am working on exercising and working out every day up until I go. So I leave next Saturday. So that's about 11, 12 more sessions if I can get in. I'm trying to train now for about an hour with my trainer and then do an hour of cardio right after. So I'm at the gym almost every day for about 2 hours at this point. Thanksgiving run. A week and 2 days before we leave for Peru. We're getting that workout in even when the gym is closed. I still have a couple of pieces of clothes drying because my washer decided to spontaneously break tonight, which was great timing. And then here we start stuff I need for Peru. There's my first little bag, and then the climbing gear starts. And it keeps going. There we go. So we got our double boots. I've got a duffel. I've had like on average 4.5 hours of sleep this whole week. I've trained almost 12 days in a row. I was trying to do this 12 days of fitness, kind of like 12 days of Christmas. I've been so tired, you know, to the point of exhaustion where you cry, and I don't really cry from stress. So I could use a rest day now. So after Machu Picchu and Rainbow Mountain in Peru and countless hours of travel, it is 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I made it to Mendoza. And the first thing I see looking out of the airport are snow-capped mountains. I'm very excited. So it's the last night before I meet the rest of the team tomorrow. And I'm in an Airbnb in Argentina, and I'm just finalizing packing. So if you can see here, I've got my gear all laid out again, just to make sure that I have everything. So this is all of it that I am planning on getting into just this bag. All right, first day, we're in the town of Quechuetas in Mendoza, and we're a 15-minute drive from the trailhead. Got my braids in, and we're ready to start our 3-day, 30-mile trek to base camp. All right, who's ready? Okay, I've got socks on my feet. All right.
Let's go.
Woo! That's ice. Woo! I need the sun pronto. It takes 3 days to get to base camp from the start of the trailhead all the way through the valley and up to the first base camp at about 14,000 feet. So we had to camp for 3 days. That was pretty great. It was beautiful. Apparently we've climbed about 6,800 feet and about 38 kilometers in the last 2 days. So that's pretty good. 38, like that's almost 20K a day. It's pretty decent. Base camp, baby. After we get to base camp, I think we spend about 4 days there. So we'll have a rest day. It's all about acclimatizing. That's the most important part for a trek like this at this altitude, is whether or not you're giving yourself enough time to get used to the lack of oxygen up there. Hi. We're at about 13,800 feet. It's our 3rd day of camping. Feels pretty good. The hiking's like hard but good. The only thing I'm like a little nervous about is I have some really bad blisters on my feet that are killing me. I feel like I'm about to lose a toe. That's dramatic, but that's how I'm feeling right now. And but I'm feeling good about the altitude, so that's good. We do essentially a hopscotch kind of route until we get to high camp. So what you do is we'll carry the extra gear that you don't need right at that moment. So extra group gear, extra food. You'll carry kind of like your ice axe, the tools that you're not going to need until you do your summit day. And you'll carry that to the next camp. You get there, you leave the stuff there, you kind of cache it and you store it away, and then you come back down to base camp and you go to sleep and you have a rest day. And then the next day after that, then you'll go and you do a move day. So then you take all of your essential items and then you go up and then you kind of like move to that new camp. So you're kind of just doing like a 2-step forward, 1 step back kind of thing the whole time. Where are we right now, Lynn?
Camp 1.
Woo! How high?
I really don't know.
It's
16.
16.3.
Enough.
We're tired. But we did it.
We did it.
2 camps to go. But what was very surprising to me was that if you exclude the guides, who were all male, the team was half and half. So by the end of it, we had 4 women and we had 4 men, which was so surprising to me. I was not anticipating that. I signed up by myself. I don't ask my friends to commit to something like this because that's insanity. But when I had got the list of everyone who had signed up, and I saw that there was a bunch of women, I was so excited because first of all, I was like, okay, great, then I don't have to be the only woman doing this, and then hopefully I can share a tent with someone that's a woman too. But it was really great, and we had even talked about that up there. The guys, they were amazing. They were like, we're so happy that there's more and more women that want to do this because it's such an amazing experience, and anyone who's willing to put in the time and the effort to prepare yourself for this can do it. Merry Christmas. We had a rest day today, and we spent it watching Lord of the Rings and eating quesadillas, and the guides are making us a brownie cake. That's pretty good Christmas. Tomorrow we move from Camp 1 to Camp Guanacos at 17,900 feet. It's going pretty well. So our summit day, we had to do about 4,000-ish feet in elevation that day, and that's a lot. It's funny, if you look at the distance in which we had to climb, it was only a couple miles, which you think is nothing. People walk that in a day. But it doesn't matter the distance in which you're traveling, it matters in the elevation in which you're climbing, and that's what is killer. And then when we did all get to the summit, I was the last one, so I was very happy to get up there. I also just felt bad because I thought maybe I was holding them up, but it was fine. They were all just hanging out and taking photos. But I cried for a quick second, just mostly for relief, and I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so happy to be up here. The view was stunning, and then I actually got to do a headstand on the top. That was one of the things, if I wasn't feeling too bad, if I had the time, I really wanted to. So I pulled out one of the mats and I asked them, I was like, will you please take a picture of me really quick? That was the hardest headstand I've ever done in my life. I tried to kick up, and then I realized, wow, I'm really dizzy and I'm at almost 23,000 feet. This was a horrible idea. So I kind of fell over the first time, and then I thought, okay, you can do this, suck it all in, use your core, and I kicked up. I held it for like 3 seconds, and I was like, okay, I'm done. And then I just laid down on the ground for a second. I was like, let me just catch my breath. I'm really dizzy. The idea that mountaineering is a male-dominated activity is just all the more reason to do it. It doesn't have to be a male-dominated sport. It's just, men started in the field like so many other fields, and they made it look like, I mean, of course, it's been years and years of thinking that women can't do things that are meant for strong men. And that's just not true. We can do anything. We can so do it. And if anything, we might be able to mentally handle those conditions a little bit better. I mean, I think, again, that's all individual. It's so, like, that's such a controversial topic, but like at the end of the day, like, I can do anything a guy can do. It's just a matter of how badly do you want to do it.